Welcome to the T Rose Show. This is your host, Keith. We have a few things that we need to talk about tonight, so we're going to go ahead and record it and put it on the T Rose Show. That's what we do. It's going to be about relationships. If you have any children in the room or whatever, it's going to be about relationships. We're going to talk about sex, some really serious issues here. And so, if you don't want them to hear it or whatever, I completely understand. And we would recommend that they just go into the other room. This is not going to be like a political thing where we're talking about what's going on and all that, Jack. So they have this show. I think the woman's name is Pearl, and she really started a big deal about um, uh, what was that word for that? Feminism. And I wanted to start there because it indirectly and directly relates to what we're going to be talking about. So what she does is she gets on the shows and she talks about women, and then how what do they have to bring to the table when it comes to men, because and being all trying to be independent, trying to have the same rights, trying to do all these things that's just impossible for them to do. And then they start talking to them about how miserable they are. Now those type of women we're going to be talking about tonight, but in a different subject matter. Okay, so if everybody's on here, you're welcome to jump in and make a comment if you'd like, as to what we're talking about here. Okay, please sound okay. Got to set that up because it kept going ding ding. Okay, so what we have to do is this. There's a spiritual warfare. Everybody knows that. There's the you're not fighting against earthly kingdoms. You're fighting against principalities, spiritual. This is all spiritual. That's just a random quote there. And everybody goes in. You got I've seen this. Okay, I've seen married couples, and say a nice looking girl walks by, and he just stares at her while his wife sits there and looks at him. Straight looks at him, and he's just staring at this other woman, whether another woman, whether she's a young teenager, whatever. He just stares like she's not even in the room. This happens a lot. You can see some of the women in the stores, like in Walmart. They're just scantily clad. They're not dressed. They got it all hanging out. Okay, and that will cause men to look. Men will go and look first thing. And it's kind of a cold thing to do on both sides. It's a cold thing for a woman to do that. She knows she's going to be in there. She knows there's going to be married men looking at her. Um, and it's cold on her part because she's not caring about what the woman thinks. It's like, okay, you're going to get naked in front of my husband here, or my boyfriend, or whatever. And it's hard. Life is hard enough when you have a woman doing that. That's an issue. So why is it blamed on the woman and the man doesn't take any responsibility for what he's doing? Okay, so why is it, if she didn't have men looking at her, she probably wouldn't do it anymore, dressed in that way. So the man has to understand what's going on with him, what's happening to him in the spiritual, in the spirit world, what's happening to him when you're walking in the spirit and not in the flesh. Because even if you're saved, even if you have salvation, even when you've turned to Jesus, that stupid temptation is always there, or it always comes up. And it's like the demons work overtime to put you in situations to where you are compromised. It's rough. It's really rough life. But as we were talking, I'll give you an example. Go ahead, Sarah. Let's go ahead and show that video, and then we stop and go. We'll stop and go on it.
Okay, just 1 second. Okay, so this movie is called Masterless, and I know a lot of people here have seen it. But basically, this guy um, he's going through a rough time in his life. I'm not going to give away all the details, but it shows a parallel of his inner narrow way. And this right here, you're seeing his inner narrow way struggle. Over here is like his current, and when you see the little hue right here, that's like his normal life. This is his inner right here. Let me press play.
Oh, stop.
Give me
Right
that.
there.
I didn't mean to.
Okay, two manipulations are going on there. Number one, she's looking innocent. She's humming. What can be damaging? What can be dangerous about that? And then she hands over power to the man. You're going to hurt me. You're going to hurt me. That's a manipulation. She's manipulating him to make him feel like he's more powerful than she is. All right, go ahead. So she goes and grabs the that I look at it as the apple, like Eve did. Okay. And then tried to give it to him as if what she was giving him had value and all that. Now she's playing victim. Please help me. Please help me. Go ahead.
Just real quickly, more about the story context. He's on the narrow way, and he's looking for the tree of life. And he's on his path. He's journeying, and this woman pops up.
Right.
Just for context.
Okay, she's talking to him like she's known him for years. That's what they call a chameleon. She's got a feel for him and what she's doing. And the character in this movie is, in fact, her character is, in fact, evil. But this is how it works. Okay. So this doesn't reflect all women. So I just want to say this is not a bash woman day. So, but this is what a wicked woman will do. Just letting you know. She'll be a chameleon and try to fulfill, she reads him and tries to fulfill and become what he needs. I've seen that a 100 times in my dating years and everything else. But they can only last about 3 or 4 months or 3 or 4 weeks, and then the facade comes down. They can't act anymore. They can't be what you want anymore. Go ahead. How blinded a man will become. He hasn't even asked, what was that stupid thing you gave me that put me out for 2 days? And then what do you mean you've enjoyed it your whole time? Those questions don't even come to mind to him. Okay. And that's how elusive what you're going to see tonight is. That's how secretive it is. Because men just don't realize it. They don't get what's going on, which affects good women also. So we have to be careful about this. Like I said, not about bashing women. What it's about is getting the tares out of that wheat because they're mixed in with the women. And the good ones are paying for what the bad ones are doing. And the men don't realize it. They don't understand what's going on. So we all need to stop it together. Okay, so in the spirit, there's a certain frequency. We call it a resonance. Resonance is like it's a scientific word for it. It's not, if you don't know what it is, it's a vibration. And I'm not going hugging trees and new age on you. What I'm saying is there's a certain frequency and a resonance that this type of woman will put out. Okay. And it always has the men looking their direction. They don't even know why they're doing it. They don't even know it's happening. Where are you headed? Oh, Marilyn Monroe. Okay, I see what you're doing. Okay, there's a certain resonance about it. There it is. See that resonance with her? It's a resonance that draws you in. It draws the men in. Everybody get it? You see what's happening? You will look automatically and you'll keep your eyes on her. She is no different than most of the women in that day. Okay, no different. But it was a certain resonance that she was putting off. It was a spiritual vibration that she was putting off that would draw people into her, where she called the shots. And what did that do? It left the women that were married to their husbands that were looking at this woman. What they were doing was becoming isolated. So that became fearful. They became fearful, where that became the recipe for the feminist woman. That was the recipe. These men knew what they were doing. So they knew that there was a certain resonance about this woman that she was putting off. Hey, free sex over here. That's free sex. You can look at me all you want. Oh, by the way, I'll take my clothes off. You can see all of me if you want to. It's no problem. I won't reject you. It was the resonance that you can do whatever you want to me. It's all free. It doesn't cost you a dime. So a man will look at that and say, wow, okay. That's free. It doesn't cost me anything. And that woman more than likely is in hell because she has caused many marriages to perish because of what she was doing, just for attention. Let's destroy families. Let's make children grow up without a father so she can get attention. That's it. That's all she's wanting. So she puts off that vibe. It's a spiritual warfare vibe. It goes and destroys families, which eventually will destroy a country. Because men are just looking, and honestly, they could be sitting there not thinking a thing. They just look, but don't really realize what they're looking. And then the wife gets all upset, and he's going, I don't know why I'm looking. I don't know why that's happening. And he could be sitting there not even picturing her naked, not even picturing anything that's going on in his head, hasn't had sex with her in his head, all this stuff, but still has to defend himself. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Da, 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 da. And then she'll get jealous, things get ugly, and the way it goes. Then she'll start looking at other men, thinking that he's screwing around on her. It spirals out of control. And now you've got children that are growing up without parents, without a mother and father. And folks, that's the goal. The goal is to break it up, break up the family. Now, these are this is in the spirit when you're looking at right now when you see masterless. This is in the spirit where you're seeing him now, and the other is in the world where he's in an office and all that kind of stuff. He's battling with I think he's battling with drugs. This man is so blind, he's thanking her for knocking him out for 2 days. That's how blind men are, and that's how they can be blinded. And that is where they give up their dominance and their leadership. It's a resonance. It's a spiritual feeling that brings back memories of mothers and comfort and safety. And as long as she can do that, she can get away with anything that she does to you. That's the wicked, if a wicked woman will do that. Now, men go around and they look at each other as threats. Every man does this, okay? Well, so we go to the stores, we're looking for threats everywhere we go. You're looking for see if somebody's going to pull a gun. You're looking at other men as a threat to you. You just don't know what he's going to do. It goes on and on and on. The women don't look at that. Don't look to men as threats. So you're more drawn to them than you would be men. So when you're going out, you're looking around and checking, all right, as to what's going on around you. But when you look at women as not a threat, you've opened yourself to this type of woman in this movie. And you have to watch this particular type. Like I said, not all women, but they are formed in society. Women are what do you call it? They're raised this way to do this to men. So what she'll do is she'll pull him in, and then now his family is neglected. He doesn't see it. He doesn't understand it. He does not see what's going on. And then the wife starts yelling at him, okay, what are you doing? And he turns around and says, what? I'm not doing anything. And then shame comes upon him. Because what they do is they'll take this spirit of this type that's working through this woman, and then they have other demons that will come in there and automatically slam him with shame. Then he'll isolate himself, and the woman will feel like she's lost her husband. Like I said, this is a spiritual warfare. This is happening through that woman not necessarily knowing what she's doing. Not all of them know. And how she's reacting. All she's trying to do is get a husband and get some attention and maybe attract a man or do what she's going to do. Okay? That's what some of them believe that they're doing. They don't really believe or know exactly what they're doing to families. That's some of them, not all of them. I think, honestly, I think majority of them do know exactly what they're doing. Because, guys, that one type of woman is more dangerous to you than any man would ever be, even if it was Genghis Khan. Okay? Very dangerous type. But because She knows how to manipulate the internal heart of hearts. She's in that point of view. And if she's manipulating the internal heart of hearts, that's the most powerful part of a man. Now, why is she doing it? It's to keep you in Babylon. To keep you away from the narrow way, to keep you away from Jesus, to keep you away from the Father, searching on the Father with all your heart, mind, and being. It's to keep you away from the set apart spirit. That's the goal. And when you see this from a very large point of view, which is where we're going, you will see what I'm talking about. You'll go, wow. Because some of these women don't realize that there's a certain resonance that comes from them. And it makes men turn. She's getting attention, thinking she's all that in a bag of chips, but doesn't realize that she's being used by the devil himself. She's literally the devil's soldier. And what she does is that what she does is it keeps you and busy, which she can keep you busy for a long time. It'll end up in you could hear that tone, you could hear what's going on, you can feel that resonance, and that resonance can bring you to porn. It can bring you to a lot of things. And then you become addicted. You get pulled into it and become addicted to porn. Now you don't have any family, you have nothing, you have isolated yourself, and you will never find Jesus in porn. Ever. If you are watching it, he's not going to be, not going to be having conversations with you. You need to let that stuff go. Repent into what you're doing. But I'm telling you, what happens is you can feel it in the room. Okay? When that woman that's being used, when she walks through the room, every man will turn his head. He doesn't know why. He doesn't necessarily even have to be attracted to her. It's the tone, guys. It's beyond what she looks like. It is beyond her body. It is beyond what she's saying, what she's feeling. It's beyond that. And these type of soldiers are placed in society by the devil himself. And I really do mean they are soldiers. They are there to keep you away from Jesus. That's what they do. That is their intent. They're not intending on loving you. They're not intending on becoming your girlfriend. They're not intending about anything. What they are intending to do is to mess you up. And if you don't pay attention to it, guess what happens? Your family stays together. If you know that it's there and you know it's happening, it's very easy. You don't even have to combat that stuff anymore. All you do is you know what they're doing, you move on and ignore it. What they do doesn't work. I saw 2 today. Now that I know what I'm looking for and I know what it is, I saw 2 today. Just like that. The other women, no problem. Oblivious, all that, no issues. 2 of them, I knew what they were doing. And they put them, they're strategically placed. I'm trying to tell you. They hang around where men go. Or they go where men go, or they work where men go. And manipulate them on purpose.
They're called sirens. They like, oh brother, where art thou? Those three sirens at the river. They lured the men in. And what I think a few days went by. They're like, wow, how long has it been? We've been at this river forever. And that's
Yeah.
the same as what's happening in this movie. He's been there for days and has no idea what's going on. His mind is like completely occupied, and manipulated by this witch, the siren.
Yeah, he's trying to find Jesus. It's a distraction. It's a distraction that happens to everybody. And the circle goes around and round and round. You could be manipulated by this for days upon days and not realize it. How many people are addicted to porn, and how long have they been addicted? So let's get down to the nitty gritty here. How many ways can you sit there and watch two people have sex? It's only a certain amount of positions, guys. What's so interesting about this couple that was not interesting about the last couple? Guess what? Everybody already knows the plot. They already know what's going to happen, and they know what the end of the story is going to be. But yet they will sit and watch it over and over and over again. You're stuck in a loop. You'll go back and forth, back and forth. So what does that fulfill? If you're even curious about, if you want to put yourself in this position, and you're always curious about what a woman looks like naked, of course, you can go to porn and she takes her clothes off or shows up naked. So you can satisfy that little weirdness or whatever you're doing. Other than just curiosity or whatever it is you're doing, why does that become addictive? You have to think about that. Or is there a certain resonance that you're addicted to? Is there a vibration or frequency that's there?
I think we figured it out earlier regarding that. It was like the first time you commit or you have a sexual act, there's a demon there that like has a certain resonance vibrate, and it trains you on that. So every time you have that sexual act again, whatever it is, or watch porn, that resonance goes off again. And then they got you so trained on that resonance that you could just be walking down the store, down the street, anything. The resonance will go off and you'll flip your head. Where are you at? Like it's a call. Like you've just been summoned somewhere. And you're so used to like a good feeling with that resonance. There's like this direct call from Satan to you through that resonance, like a whistle, a Pied Piper with a melody that you're comfortable with.
So what's happened to you, folks? What's happened to you? How many times have you called your dog with a whistle? And they come. That's exactly what he's doing to you.
So we had it in the store the other day. Do you mind if I share that?
Yeah. Good.
Okay. So we walk in and there's this woman that walks past us, and she had that resonance, and it like immediately affected Keith. Like you could tell right away. He didn't do anything wrong. It's just that resonance was there, and it like by our nature causes the man to like react by that training. And then he said like a spirit of guilt came after that, as though he did something wrong. So now he's like going through this inner battle as though he's done something wrong, and then that will linger on kind of like what this guy right here in Masterless, he's like, whoa, what happened? Where am I? How did I end up in this room? And there's this woman here like this. And of course, he immediately goes to Jesus. But that's like everywhere you go. They set you up. They train you to respond to a certain thing. And then follow up with a demon to give you guilt. And then it's like a continuous loop over and over and over. And some people are so bad in it that it's with porn and affairs and stuff. But we actually caught it. It's real. It's really happening. There's
Yeah, it
whistles.
is. It really
Yeah.
does do it. And the funny thing is, the woman wasn't necessarily that great looking. Just an average woman who's walking through, but she had that resonance. And the guilt, I don't even think it was the guilt of noticing her. That's all it really was. It was I think it was the guilt of answering to that whistle. It was the shame I felt because I immediately went to Jesus. Did I do anything wrong? Did anything happen? And this was a spiritual warfare between him, Jesus, and the devil. Because we are actually trained, guys, as young people to hear his whistle, and you answer that call when the devil does that. And I think that's truly where the shame is coming from, or the guilt, that you weren't loyal enough, or you weren't loyal to Jesus. Now that I know what it is, it doesn't affect you. And that's where I'm hoping we can get to. Stop answering the call of the devil. Realize that you've been trained like a dog. So when he blows his whistle, you come. And what he's doing is he's disguising himself as a woman to you. Does everybody get what's really happening? He disguises himself as a woman. This kind of woman that serves him.
Sorry for the political, but it's just the three there. So you have, a boyfriend and girlfriend, or husband and wife, and a woman walks by and the man just like flips his neck, and she sees it. She's like, what the heck? But to him, he doesn't even see what he's doing. It's like so automatic. But she sees it all because she knows what woman does. So it's like she can hear. And I've started to be able to hear. Well, that sounded weird. I can hear the way women call in the spirit, the whores. It's a certain resonance, and the men can't see it. Only the women can. But the men respond to it until Jesus shows the men that resonance, so that they can ask for to not receive that call anymore, or respond to that call. But women know it because we're in Babylon. We're trained to be that whore. We're trained to idolize Marilyn Monroe and that image of attracting men, of how do I get all the attention? How do I get him to be to do whatever I want, to take care of me, to pay my bills. That's really big right now. Just pay my bills. That's all you're supposed to do. We're trained to be that way. So for the women out there, you need to focus on not being a siren. Don't be a witch. Don't try to deceive other men, any men. That's not what we were created for at all. Women were created to serve man, not to manipulate them and lead them astray, or to get them to worship you, or to break up marriages. or cause them to be whores, men to be whores. And I think that's what Keith was bringing up in the beginning of tonight regarding Pearl, and she's educating women on this, of how liberalism and feminism is very destructive for society, because Satan needs women away from men because his access point is through women, because they're the weaker vessel. Women without men protecting them are completely vulnerable. So you have a bunch of women walking around and they're like open buffet for the devils and all the demons. No, like there's no, we can't, for some reason, women are completely helpless when it comes to the demons. So that we have a split up family and then a whole bunch of sirens everywhere. So women, your goal is to not, or your stop being sirens and leading men astray. But that image comes up a lot, and this kind of depicts what we're talking about here.
Right. Now look at the woman in red. Just ignore the flags, folks. We're not trying to reflect on any countries. The woman in red right there. It's funny that they put her in red. Imagine her, and inside of her is a demon. And she's portraying that resonance of sex. And she's literally attacking the girl in the blue shirt. The demon is attacking her to get to him, then to eventually get to Jesus, especially if you turn to Jesus. But once you recognize this tone, guys, the frequency or the resonance coming from a woman like that, or who's actually serving the devil, once you get that, you're going to be free. You're going to be free of that. Freedom is not just doing whatever the hell you want. Okay. Freedom is freedom from your crimes, your sin. And that's what Jesus provides, freedom from your deceptions. Once I realized what was happening, and the two today that were trying it, that were doing, that had that resonance with them, as you can pick them out, there was only two and probably 15 women. There were two in there, and they were working the crowd. They were working men. They were working women. Okay. And you could tell exactly what they were doing. It's like the veil comes off and you watch the wickedness that they're portraying. They're innocent. They're not going to hurt you. They're women. Well, how could they do this? Those are more dangerous than anything, because they work with the heart, which is the issue on the narrow way. Your heart is the issue. When you're wanting to get that wickedness out of you, which is the curse of Adam and all that, that's the main issue, and that's what they deal with, and that's what the demons deal with. Demons can make you feel really good. They can disguise a lot of things. They're very smart, and you got to watch them. And this resonance has been around for a long time. Hugh Hefner knew how to hone this whole deal, how to create this image that mimicked the resonance of this type of individual. He knew how to do that. That's why he was a very successful man as far as money was concerned, but probably one of the poorest men in the world in the spirit. And believe me, this all happens in the spirit. When a woman gets the idea of this resonance, when she gets it and sees it and she starts using it, it don't matter what she looks like. She's going to get men to look.
Do you remember what the three things of witchcraft are? It's a domination, manipulation, and there was a third one.
Yeah,
But the
what's
manipulation is what we're talking about with the sirens, is the manipulating of men. And the curse on us from the fall is warring with each other. That's part of the curse. Man and woman are at war. And so
intimidation.
yeah, there it is. Thanks, Alex. Man and woman, filio man and woman, with when they still have the I am, they're at war with each other. They're trying to take each other down. Like it's a constant back and forth. How can I manipulate him? How can I dominate her? Back and forth, back and forth. But when two come together in Jesus with the set apart spirit, you now have like a duo where you can stand back to back, and the woman can see the tricks of other women to protect the man, and the man can see the tricks of other men to protect the woman. And there's no longer a war, and all of a sudden there's loving your neighbor.
There's no more jealousy, no more hatred. You're free from it because you're no longer answering the call of the devil, not realizing that's what you're doing. That's why it's so powerful. That's why porn is so addictive. That's why all these things are happening. It's a spiritual thing. It is not a physical thing. Everybody here, every woman has the same parts. Every man has the same parts. That's just the way it is. You're not gonna. You're not gonna see anything different, and the plot is not going to be any different either. So, what is it? You got to ask yourself, if you're addicted to that, what is it that makes you addicted to it? There's no medical sensations. There's nothing there. It's not like you're high or you're drunk. It's right in the mind. So what is it? Why do you do it? It's that frequency.
Well, it could be a high on the resonance.
It could be, yes.
I'm so addicted to that frequency, man.
Oh, when I heard it, yeah, because there's certain women that you'll have it with. There's even certain men that will be there that will have it, that frequency. But once you realize it, guys, you'll recognize it immediately. It will free you from Babylon, where you can get out of Babylon. It is designed to keep you in Babylon so that at the end of your life, you never meet the Father, you never meet Jesus, and all you see is darkness. If you don't believe me, get on YouTube and watch these shows. I went to hell when I died, and this is what happened. Go watch 5 of them. They describe different things, but the basics is the same. The basics are the same. You're there, you can't get out. Everybody there knows you can't get out. You automatically know what everybody else did, what their sin, what they were doing. They never reached out to Jesus. They ignored him. They ignored him all the way to his last breath when they knew that he was the only way to the Father, to reconcile with our Father in heaven and to stop warring with him. They knew that. And they sat there in their lifetime for 70, 80, 90 years. And then when they died, it was up. It's over. And there's nothing they can do. Now, some people may not believe that. I honestly really do not care whether you believe it or not. I don't have to convince you. If you want to be, you want to remain ignorant, that's fine. Whatever you want to do. I feel for you. I'll pray for you, but you're not going to get me. Like, I'll get him. I don't believe in that. Who cares? Nobody cares whether you believe in it or not. It's real and it does happen. And it does exist. I'm talking about hell. And the main issue is your love issue. The main issue on the narrow way is finding Jesus, and he's the only one that can give you salvation and free you from your sin and bonds. And if you're sitting there saying, well, why would he save me? My reaction to that is, you don't deserve it. And neither did I. No one does. So if you want to play old pity party and say, well, I'm not that big of a deal and I'm not great and all that stuff. Well, he doesn't save any great people. Some of the greatest people deserve way less, or they deserve hell. Every one of us do. So that's not a point. Whether you deserve it or not, that's not a point as to that's not even a sentence in the big scheme of things, okay, in the big picture. You're there and you seek him and find him to get that salvation and to eventually form a relationship with him that you will never forget. So if you don't think you deserve any kind of salvation, you're right, you don't. Absolutely right. I agree with you 100%. I don't deserve it, never did deserve it. It's not about deserve. It's not about sin. Okay? It's about love. So that's the side point. Does anyone want to bring anything up based on the what we were talking about tonight? And I would appreciate it if you did. They get all shy because they're going to be on YouTube. It's funny. Nobody's going to say anything. Seriously.
I believe the American society is so saturated with sexualization for children, for adults of all ages, teens. It's in the games they play. Now with this gender thing, it's taken sexualization to a whole new level. One that's hard to follow, with 100 genders in their lexicon, which we know male and female, he made them. But when you reject that, you get all the other crazy stuff. The problem is that society is eroding so fast. Society presents itself as a spectacle from time to time, and you're just curious as to look upon it and say, how can they be walking in this way? How can they be going in this direction? Meanwhile, you got to watch out for the barbs that come from that curious viewing, because there's things that can happen to you. So I'm bringing that up just to say that after decades of sexualization in movies, video games, now educations, and the debauchery that's in the street with the LGBTQ community and the genderification, now you have people going to Comic-Con conventions, wearing outfits that are fit for probably windowless nightclubs and strip joints. But it's all in the name of presenting a character appearance. There's so much rationalization going on that it's it's hard to miss it. And whether women are aware of it or not, men's bodies were tuned into your body before they could even know what was going on in their lives. And that's because that's what the Father put within every man, is the desire for a woman. Unless something happens along the way and it gets corrupted by, say, weird Uncle Tom who plays with his nephew in a bad way, and then screws him up, and he can't figure out where he's supposed to go and how he's supposed to act. I don't want to get off the subject, but just thought I would bring that into the picture. We've been living in a petri dish of sexual putrefaction for decades. And it is hard to move out of it when harmless little commercials will sexualize you and sell through sex. But we still have an order to stay honorable and clean. So I just wanted to bring that into the picture too. The assault is unintended for us, but intended by others. And I yield the floor.
I've
Yeah, to
noticed.
add to that.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, all I was going to do is I think there's such a large. I'm not trying to explain this away, and I'm not trying to make it normal. Okay, so folks, please don't think that's what I'm trying to do. I'm thinking what's happening is the reason why there's so much pedophilia going on, or there's so much of that going on, is because people have become numb to just normal sex. They're numb to it. They can't. They have to get weird in order to get turned on. They have to do weird stuff. So what would normally happen, if especially to a man, and you've heard other people that were addicted to porn and how it affected their families, and a lot of normal men, just trying to take care of their families, all that kind of thing. You'll find out that the women in the porn he's watching will become younger and younger. He'll start out with women in their 40s, and it just gets younger and younger. Pretty soon he's watching 18-year-olds. And it's so normalized in the porn industry and the films they make that it just seems normal to them to sit and they forget that they're in their 50s. They forget it's like, that's not, no, that's not normal. You're doing things that you're not supposed to be doing because not good. All right. You need to back it off a little bit because you are now looking at girls that are younger than your children, your daughters. And I believe as long as they're there, they are blinded to that. And then it will go below that, where you start below 18, and then that becomes normal to them. And that's what happens. It becomes everything normal becomes so boring that they have to do weird stuff. Like I said, I'm not trying to explain to everybody what that is, all right, or that that's okay in any way, shape, or form. However, realize that you're dealing with an addict, okay, and you can because they've said that that pedophilia is not curable. You can't cure it. There's no way you're going to be able to do it. That's people that have worked in that industry for a very long time and have dealt with pedophiles. And they
the recovery is less than 3%.
Right. It is. So you've got that issue. The sad part about it is most of these men are married. that are doing this, and they're destroying the country, just destroying it. It's all, that's really what the goal is. So like I said, not trying to explain it away or get you to understand it so you'll have any kind of empathy for people like that. That's not my intention. All right, so just recognize that you might be able to pick one out because you're actually looking for somebody who's addicted, not someone who is a basic criminal. Okay, criminals don't do that, but addicted people do. And if that's what you're looking for, that's what you'll find. Go ahead, Sarah.
I think you covered it. I was just gonna mention, based on what Trent was saying, that when you start going down the narrow way, it's like a detox process, because Babylon is so saturated in sex that like there's layers of it embedded in you that is being removed. And just when you think, like you've gotten over all of something, or you've been healed in an area, there's kind of like a deeper level there, or your understanding goes deeper. And I mean, it's bad. We're very groomed from very early. And there is documentaries on porn and it leading to pedophilia. We could put a link on this video when it's posted. But there's interviews of porn addicts, and they talked about how they did have to go younger and younger to get that same satisfaction, and it's a lot like a heroin addict. And their recovery rate is just as low. So I think it's right there with heroin and this new drug Tranq that's making people zombies. That's all.
Okay, anybody else?
Yeah, you pointed on earlier recognizing what what some of the manipulation looks like, and as soon as you do that, you're freeing yourself from Babylon, is what you mentioned, and it seems right too. It seems right there, but recognizing it is a different avenue than kind of looking at it, or still kind of involved, as far as the sexualization of Babylon. Because I was sexualized as a young kid and didn't even know it really. So it took many years to try and recognize that too. So it's about recognizing.
Right. Like I said, I didn't recognize that resonance. I could pick it out in a crowd, no problem now. And once you know what it is, it does not affect you anymore. It stops.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's what this video, or we're doing this particular show, to bring awareness to that thing that happens, and the facade behind it. It's not a physical thing, guys. It's not physical at all. It's all spiritual. And you have to start looking in that direction, because if you don't know, you're going to end up being lonely, addicted to porn, in a cold room, spending hours upon hours in front of a computer, no life, no nothing. That's where they end up. And then pissed off and frustrated everywhere you go. And can't figure out in your own sick mind, why didn't this girl in the gas station take off her clothes and start having sex with her employer? Right there. That's where your mind starts going. That's how twisted it is. They were making a video about that, or they were talking about that with the show Friends, that they had. There was an episode where they were getting free porn, and they would just sit and stare at it like for days. it was free, so they didn't want to. They wanted to get it as much as they could in while it was still on. That's how messed up it is. They made it normal in that series, that show. It was sexualizing people, that it was okay to sit and watch that.
Every time you go to see a naked person or go to have sex with someone you're not married to, anytime you lust after a woman anywhere you're out, you're responding to the call and voice of the devil. And so you are his goat. But Jesus said, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. So listen to the shepherd's voice, not the Pied Piper. Stop responding to the Pied Piper's voice, or his trumpet, his pipe. Pipe. The Pied Piper's trumpet. It does sound like a horn.
Yeah, it does.
Lost it everywhere.
So everybody will just realize that when next time you go to a store, next time you go somewhere where there's a lot of people, try to pick them out. You'll see it every time. You'll figure it out. If you have a real hard time figuring it out, ask the set apart spirit to reveal it to you. Reveal that to you. And I believe some of these women need to be stopped. And I think it can be when the men realize what's going on and start reacting to it. You know it's there, you know it's coming, don't look. You'll feel it. You literally will feel it. Don't look. Don't give her the time. Don't reward her for what she's doing. And eventually she'll stop. She'll stop doing what she's doing. All right. So thanks for listening to the T Rose Show. I hope that everyone gets the idea of what we're talking about here. And the narrow way is about honesty. It's about facing facts, and it's about facing the real. That's the narrow way. So if everybody else is finished, you don't want to say anything. Thanks for listening to the T Rose Show, and we'll see you next time.